I'm Jen, and today what I'm going to cover is a concept and also a continuation of what we went over last time. Okay, so last time we learned to pass the basketball, right? It's that slinky movement of the body, right? Okay, so this part, relax, coming up from the ground, right? And then out the body, and then sink again, right? So it's this kind of movement, okay? Oh, right? Hawkins Chung, he calls it the big gear moves the little gear. So you have these two gears, right? You have one big gear, and you have one little gear, okay? And if they have a connection, then the big gear, as soon as it moves the little gear, right? So this is the same thing. The little gear is the elbow to the hand, like this, right? The big gear is this big bottom gear down here, okay? And it connects right at this point. So when I move this big gear up, see that? And right to here, it connects to the little gear, right? So then it comes out the hand and then it sets back down. So you're going to see that my elbow move because of the wave action a little bit forward. Okay, you got it? So you got to have that. You got to practice to get that timing of the two gears. If the gears are too far apart, then one big gear moves, but sometimes it slips, and so you miss a couple gears, right? And you don't get that good connection. So you have to. That's why I always talk about the strong elbow. The strong anchor that elbow, right? And if you do that, then as soon as my body moves, the elbow is also going to move, right? Okay, make sure you come back down and sink, okay? So that's what we covered over last time, okay? One of the questions I got from one of the subscribers was, when you do chain punch, how in the world do you do this, right? Every punch, okay, right? And of course, obviously, we don't do that, right? And yes. At first, it's okay to exaggerate the movement, right? I even tell my students that when you're first learning it, just really learn to make it big, right? Boom, boom, right? Really make it big, boom, right? When you do that, you really understand how you're getting that power, generating the power. Okay? But little by little, what you want to do is, it's going to get smaller and smaller, boom, okay? Until it's very small, where if I do it now, right, you guys probably won't even see it, right? Just, you won't see it, but I feel it, okay? So it's like condensing the movement little by little, and through the years of your training, it gets more and more refined, okay? So that's one thing, okay? Two is, think of it also like one cycle of the gear, one movement, takes care of several punches. Now, that's kind of like when I used to be a sprinter, right, in high school. And when I'd run, I realized that one is you have to be relaxed. Sprinting is about being relaxed and maintaining, getting to max speed and then learning to relax as much as possible to maintain that speed. The more you try to run faster, you slow down. So you have to learn to completely relax. The great sprinters, they get to top speed as fast as possible, and then they completely relax their whole body, right? And try as long as possible to maintain that top speed. That means they have to be completely relaxed. So that was something I also applied to my training in martial arts. Okay, so. What I mean by one movement takes care of several punches, it's just like the runner, the sprinter. When you sprint, you can't breathe out and cycle your breathing every time your feet move, okay? Or you'd be like this, right? You tire yourself out, right? So that's not gonna work. But they used to teach us this, one exhale, one cycle of breathing took care of several steps. So you'd run and you let out. So it's like a train. It's one breath out took care of several steps. And that's kind of like the chain punch, okay? It's when you're chain punching, right? And you're doing this movement, okay? So I'm making this movement big so that you can see it, okay? And then I'm gonna make it smaller and smaller. But one movement takes care of several punches. So one movement takes care of several punches. One movement takes care of several punches. One movement takes care of several. You understand? So it's not like you have to do it all the time, okay? So when you're practicing your chain punches, kind of think of that in mind, okay? So, all right, so back to what we're talking about. This basketball, passing the basketball. Once you understand that, then what I want you to do, it's very important that you apply it to your form. And it's, like I said again, it's okay to exaggerate. So that when you're practicing your form now, right? Okay, you practice this. See, the slinky, this basketball movement. See, so the wave of my body, you've seen the effect in my hand. Okay, it won't happen if my elbow's out. But if my elbow's in, it's big gear moves little gear. Okay? So when you're practicing this, you want to practice that basketball wave, that inchworm movement into your form, and practice. Okay? So make sure you include it there. Brooke? So also make sure that when you're practicing, you apply it to your chi-sao. Your chi-sao. So whether it's two hands, right, or whether it's one hand, danchi, right, same. Okay? So from here, right, when I do this, okay, let's say I go to palm strike. A lot of you guys just do this. And it's okay to just learn the hand movements without having to mess with the body, okay? So learning the hand movement, then Brooke punches from here, right? So just learning the hand movement. That's okay, right? But as you get more and more comfortable doing this drill, you have to start including that wave movement, right? So from here, again, I'm going to make it big, but it's from here, okay? Okay? And back down. Okay? So you practice that way, okay? So when you're doing your chi-sao, you also have to include it into your drill. So it becomes more and more comfortable for you and you start to get it, okay? You can't start to condense it until you really understand you have the body control of that movement. And it seems like an easy movement to do, but it really isn't. It took me a really long time, and I'm still practicing that movement and trying to refine it even more and more and more. And yes, that is also a part of the 1 inch punch, okay? That's a whole another enchilada, but it is part of the Wing Chun 1 inch punch, which Bruce Lee made famous. But Bruce Lee, he adopted it a little different. He combined it with the Western boxing. That's how come when he does the 1 inch punch, right? He does it sideways. He goes like this. He starts like in a boxer stance, right? He's even off the back foot, right? And he from here, and then he pushes out the hip, out the elbow, and it locks the arm out like that. Boom. Okay. So if you see him in the video doing a 1 inch punch, you'll see him do it sideways. He's not facing the opponent because he's using the boxing structure, but he's backing it. He's not punching it like this. He punches with the elbow down position. This is the Wing Chun structure, and he's using the hip to fire the punch. So this is also the Wing Chun hip. So he modified the Wing Chun to do the 1 inch punch. Okay, and if you look at my other video on the, I tell you guys, the boxing, the most dangerous part of a boxer's punch is the last 3 inches. Right? So right here, when the extension of the last 3 inches, boom, because that's when I have the full rotation of my hip and my body, my whole body's turned, right? All that torque comes out the end of my hand for a boxer, okay? So Bruce Lee, that's what he did. Okay? The reason he's getting to the last 3 inches, or the last 1 inch of the boxer's punch. Okay? So he starts like that, and then he just turns his hip to get to the last 3 inches. But he uses what? He uses the Wing Chun hip and the Wing Chun fist to do it. Boom, boom, and then out the hand. Okay, so again, that's different, okay, than how I would do it. Because why? Because I don't do I don't do front wheel drive boxing or Chinese boxing. Okay, I do rear wheel drive. Okay, so what's the difference? Thanks, bro. Okay. Brooks had a lot of fans, huh, on the channel. Yeah. She's turning all red right now. Okay, she gets more attention than I do. Now I feel bad. I'm jealous. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, so from here, what do I mean by front wheel drive, rear wheel drive? Okay, front wheel drive is really simple. That means if it's like a car, you see the cars that front wheel drive, right? So their front wheels have all the power. Okay, so if I'm going to do, let's say let's say if I'm going to do an advanced step, right? I'm going to step forward. Okay, if I use front wheel drive, that means the front wheel is what launches me forward. I lift the front wheel and I launch myself forward. See that? Okay. Rear wheel drive is like the old muscle car. Okay? That means when you hit the gas, the rear tires grab the ground. They grip the ground, right? And then they're spinning, and the wheels. Once the wheels catch the ground, then it launches the car forward, the front of the car. So rear wheel drive, I'm getting power from my rear leg, and I push off that rear leg forward. Right? That's the difference. It means my whole body is coming in. Okay? Front wheel drive means I'm floating. Okay? I'm relying on my speed, my athleticism, right, to get me in. Right? Boom. Right? That's front wheel drive. Okay? Wing Chun, Chinese boxing, you can do either one. Okay? That's how come I tell you guys. If you're young and you're fast, do front wheel drive. Okay? That also means that you're going to practice what? No Wu Sao hand, no defending hand, and you're also going to practice what? You're also going to practice is no contact. You don't want the sensitivity. All the Chi Sao, you don't want it. Why? Because the Chi Sao will slow you down. It slows you. Once they put their hand on you or their body on your arm, you get stuck. So you don't want the touch. So you front wheel drive, and you want to develop that speed, right? That means your training is primarily going to be elbow to the fist. Elbow to the fist, okay? And one easy drill, because people always ask me, come here, Brooke, real quick, is ask me, well, how do you develop speed? Well, if you're asking me that kind of question, that only means one thing. That means you're practicing what? Front wheel drive. Okay? So there's all kinds of drills you can do, right? But one easy one is just to hold a focus mitt. I don't have a focus mitt with me today, but okay, I'll use a focus mitt here, right? Okay, Brooks, she's here. And her job, okay, I'm half a step out of boxing range, right? Okay, you should always start here. I hold out the boxing mitt or boxing glove, whatever. Okay? Her job is to punch the mitt as fast as she can, and my job is to not let her touch. She goes, I move the hand. She's too close. Right? Here? She goes, bump. See? So that means she has to develop that quick hand speed, reflex. Okay? Until she can do it. Until she can touch that hand. Her hand is up. Okay? As soon as she sees me go, right? She's gonna move the hand. Okay? And I have to practice. So that little by little, I'm getting quicker and quicker, right? Until you develop that speed, right, to get in, and then boom, you can hit it. Okay? That's how you should practice if you are going to practice half speed or half half beat faster or front wheel drive. Okay, that's how you should practice. Okay, if she does the cheats, if she does the sensitivity, she sticks to me like this, I can't go fast anymore. It's like jamming, right? So then I have to disengage and then get back in again. I don't want the touch. Okay, if you're going to practice that kind of method. Me, because I'm older, I don't rely on that method anymore. I do rear wheel drive. Rear wheel drive means what? You need the touch. You need the Wusao hand. Why? Because I'm not fast. Right? I'm not fast anymore. Okay? That means you need the time to be able to do everything you need to do, right? Or to take care of a situation, right? By using the sensitivity to slow your opponent down. Okay? It's like Hawkins Chung calls it like taking a big net made out of metal, right? And you throw it on a person, right? It's like, ugh, it's heavy, right? That's what your chi sao should feel like on your opponent. It's like, ugh, it's like throwing a big metal net on their arms, okay? So that's the way I practice, okay? So when you're practicing, you can practice. You can practice either footwork, okay, but using still that slinky movement. So from here, I'm half beat faster, right? Okay. From here, I just want to launch my front foot, boom, okay. But if I'm going to use a rear wheel drive, then I need to use what? This movement. Okay. I sit on my weight on my rear leg and I jack it up, okay, and then push myself forward. Just like that. That means I'm using my whole body to move me. Front wheel drive, I'm just using my front leg to launch me. Okay? So if you're practicing rear wheel drive, make sure you practice this slinky movement to move you forward. Move you forward. Move you forward. Rear wheel drive forward. Got it? Okay? So make sure you practice that movement into all different aspects of your training. Your forms training, your chi sao, your sensitivity drills, and also your footwork, okay? So that you really start to understand that this movement, because it's really difficult to learn, and the sooner you start practicing, the sooner you're gonna get it, okay? Also practice on your mukjong, your wind dummy, okay? That's it. So, also, Michael, I wanted to thank you. I read your letter to my students, and they were really impressed. I was really impressed, and it really means a lot to me that you took the time to send me your donation and also your letter, right? So it was really good, and it really inspired me to keep doing what I'm doing here on the tutorial, and that you really do appreciate it, and everyone else out there. So thank you very much. Okay, take care, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget your mothers, all right? Mother's Day coming up, all right? Take care.